Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Scott Selections here for Wednesday, March 4th, where we get into today's play of the day. Quick recap of what happened yesterday. Unfortunately, we picked up a loss with Zion Williamson over 26.5 points, which was available at minus 106 on FanDuel. He had 25 points with about 9 minutes and 11 seconds left, and then did not score for the rest of the game. He missed he was contested, but he probably should have made two layups in the span of about 5 seconds. With less than 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Pretty unfortunate. If you did not see the play or see any of the fourth quarter, just watch it. There's about 2 minutes left, and Zion has a layup in the paint. He misses, gets the offensive rebound, goes up for it again, and it rolls around the rim about 3 times, and it misses. Pretty unfortunate. Ended up with 25. He also missed 4 free throws, so he could have potentially went over. But either or, the Pelicans found a way to score 134 points, and Zion only scored 25. It happens, but overall, definitely a pretty upsetting loss because I feel like that should have been easy cash. If you're 2 points away with 9 minutes to go and you have one of the most unstoppable forces in the NBA, you should probably try to give him the ball. I don't know, but either or. Pass is the pass. We're going to be trying to look forward to a play of the day winner here on Wednesday. A lot of games on the card today. You have some NBA action. Nothing really that stands out to me. I'll mention a couple of thoughts, but there is one play in college basketball that I do like, and I will be giving it out as play of the day. If some of you also noticed, I gave out a play on Twitter yesterday. What I think I might be doing in the future is because of the fact that I usually give out one play at least to myself. I usually always scout out a play on the overnight and try to beat some line movements. I might potentially start doing that in a video format, or I might be making a video late at night and just telling you of a play that I like before line movement comes, then I might give out another video the following morning. So instead of one video, I might be making 2 every day now, just something to keep in mind. I also might be doing some conference tournament thoughts, so stay tuned for that. But the play of the day is actually going to be on a team that we've backed lately in college basketball that has actually paid off pretty much every time. And we'll be on Oklahoma State as they take on Kansas State. And we like minus 6.5, which is available on FanDuel at minus 110. That's pretty much the line available market-wide, but at the same point, we're just going to use FanDuel because why not? A couple of reasons why we like Oklahoma State in this spot. First of all, Kansas State, even though they have been good in the past, they have been absolutely terrible so far this season. Kansas State has the worst record in the entire conference. They are 9-20 overall, and they are 2-14 in conference play. Definitely terrible. They are 1-9 on the road as well, so this team has struggled dramatically on the highway. Meanwhile, Oklahoma State, despite being 15-14, they are 9-6 at home, and they have looked a lot better at home over the last couple of weeks. If you've looked at Oklahoma State's recent home performances, definitely a solid showing, as Kansas State has managed to win each of their last 4 home games. They beat Texas Tech by 3 points at an upset at home. Other than that, the last 3 home games they've had against Iowa State, Oklahoma, as well as TCU, they won by at least 12 points in each of those games, and now they take on one of the worst teams. Now they take on the worst team in the entire conference, and I do not think that will bode well for the Wildcats on Wednesday. Plus, it is also worth mentioning that Oklahoma State, in addition to being a solid home team over the final stretch of the season, will actually be playing its final home game of the season, which means that it will be senior night in Oklahoma State, which is important because 3 of the top 4 scorers on Oklahoma State are seniors. So it will be the final home game for star forward Cameron McGriff, star guard Lindy Waters III, as well as guard Thomas DeZiagua. So all 3 of them will be playing their final home games. I think it'll be quite emotional, and I think they will come out and play a very solid game. I expect the crowd to be pretty packed for it because of the fact that McGriff's one of the best players that this program has ever had, and I think that you should see a pretty solid showing. Meanwhile, Kansas State, they did just lose close to Kansas. That was at home, and that is one of the biggest rivalry games in the entire country. But Kansas State still has their senior night coming up, so I don't really think they'll be that motivated for this final road game. I expect them to definitely try to save a lot of their energy and to go off for their final home game. But Oklahoma State, 15-14, really just a mediocre season, but they have a chance to end it on a high note for their three main seniors. So for that reason, I think you should see Oklahoma State come out and win this game by double digits. This game might be close for a little while. Oklahoma State did win the first meeting at Kansas State by 5 points, but I think at home, I think they should be able to do what it needs. I think they will be able to do what needs to be done in order to win this game by at least 7 points. Oklahoma State is also the better offense, averaging roughly 2 more points per game, and they're also averaging roughly 4 more rebounds per game. So I think Oklahoma State should be able to clean up on the glass, and I think they should be able to create enough second chance opportunities in order to cover the spread. So, once again, play of the day is going to be on Oklahoma State minus 6.5, and that line is available on FanDuel at minus 110. Now, looking at the rest of the betting card, a lot of games to go through. I'll go through the NBA first. At first glance, I'm going to lean to, what do I like here? I'm going to lean to the over 231.5 between Chicago and Minnesota. The reason why I didn't give it out as play that is because of the fact that Minnesota played yesterday and Chicago will be without Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine, a fantastic scorer and abysmal defender, and with him out of the lineup, you might see Chicago use their defensive specialist, Makoko, more often. If you don't know who he is, he completely shut down Luka Doncic in the last game. They called him up recently from the G League. He's one of the only defensive specialists left in the NBA at this point in time, and he did absolute wonders against Doncic. I think he could be a potential difference maker if he was on a different team, but at the end of the day, Chicago offensively is pretty much Kobe White and nobody else. Markkanen is supposed to be back, though, but he will be on a series minute restriction. Wendell Carter has been playing, but he's not a serious offensive scorer. He's more of a defensive rim protector. But overall, Chicago, I expect Kobe White to take at least 20-something shots, and I think this game should get into the 230s. Minnesota still plays no defense, and the fact that they actually won their game yesterday means that they're going to continue playing at this fast pace. Whereas Chicago, even though they kind of slowed the pace a little bit against Dallas, I think that New Orleans will give too many opportunities in transition. I think that they will push the pace. So lean to the over in that one. Other than that, lean to Miami minus 7. Miami's been unbelievable at home. They just beat Milwaukee at home. And I just don't think Orlando matches up well against Miami in the spot. Miami has the depth. Aaron Gordon is supposed to be coming back from injury, but he's still not at 100%. I don't really know how efficient he will be. But at the end of the day, Adebayo is one of the best defensive centers in the entire league. They just have so many weapons with Dragic, Nunn. You have Robinson. Harrow's been injured. I mean, people forget that he's also a solid player. Jay Crowder's contributed a decent amount from the three-point line. Olynyk provided some solid minutes off the bench. I just think they have too many weapons. Lean to Miami on that one. I'm going to skip the Knicks game. I'd have to lean to Utah, but the Knicks have kicked my ass multiple times this season, so I'll pass on that. I think the Nets game's an interesting spot. It's currently at 1.5. Nets as a Nets fan, which is why I'm wearing the shirt today, probably the greatest comeback I've seen in franchise history. I've been a fan since I was born, and that was absolutely ridiculous. 51 points in the fourth quarter, and then LeVert dropped 51 on his own. But they are playing an overtime game on the second night of a back-to-back. I think Memphis could come out and win this game. I don't know. Brooklyn might have just gotten a spark that they needed for the immediate future. But I would have to lean to Memphis just based on the rest disparity, as well as the fact that Brooklyn starters did absolutely nothing yesterday, and it was the bench unit that came in and went off. I'll lean to Memphis. I think they should be able to play well. Those are my thoughts on that game. Other than that, though, lean to the over 240 between the Pelicans and the Mavericks. Even though the Pelicans played yesterday, there have been reports that Zion Williamson will actually be playing back-to-backs, contrary to reports earlier this season. I made a tweet about it. Pretty much just says, yeah, we just lost to Minnesota at home, so we got to play Zion so we can try to make the playoffs. Basically, my thoughts, I don't think Zion would have been playing in this game had they won yesterday, but they did not. I still would lean to the over. Porzingis is supposed to be back in the lineup. I think both teams should get into the 120s. Lean to the over in that one. And other than that, I'll lean to Portland minus 7.5. At long last, the return of Damian Lillard is upon us. He should have a minute restriction, but Washington just played a very intense game against the Kings yesterday, in which they fell short. But they are playing the second night of a back-to-back against Portland, who is desperate to try to get back in the playoff hunt. Plus, Lillard returning should provide a bit of a spark for the crowd. I think Portland should win that game by around, I'd say, 10 points, give or take. I think Washington will run out of gas in the second half. Lean to the Trailblazers on that one. Now, looking at some leans on the card, I gave out a play on Twitter yesterday. Last night, I should say, that at Indiana minus 3.5 against Minnesota. Indiana, overall, they already beat Minnesota by 12 a couple weeks ago, and Indiana, according to Lenardi, is in the last 4 in, which means that they are in must-win territory as they will be looking to cement their spot in the NCAA tournament. Meanwhile, Indiana is 14-3 at home, 10-7 against the spread at home, where Minnesota is 2-9 on the road and 5-9 on the road against the spread. 2 heartbreaking losses against Maryland at home, in which they choked a double-digit lead late in the second half, and they lost a nail-biter against Wisconsin in their last game. At some point, losing so many nail-biters is going to get to you, just mentally, and I think Indiana should be able to capitalize on that. Lean to the Hoosiers on that one. Other than that, I'm going to lean to Virginia Tech -1.5 against Clemson. This line at first glance makes absolutely no sense. Clemson's have been rolling. Virginia Tech's been terrible lately. But I think the fact that this line is still Virginia Tech -1.5 tells me that I think Virginia Tech will be the right side. Lean to the Hokies on that one. Other than that, what else do I like here? I think the Virginia game is a little bit of a trap line, but I will lean to Virginia. Virginia's been one of the hottest teams in the country. People haven't really talked about it. Miami's been solid at home, but terrible overall. I think Virginia will slow the pace. I think they should be able to limit Miami to around 55 points, give or take, and I think that you should see Virginia win this game by at least 3. So lean to Virginia on that one. Other than that, though, pretty much it for my thoughts on today's betting card. Play today, once again, is going to be on Oklahoma State -6.5, which is available on FanDuel at -110. That's going to be this installment of Scott Selections here for Wednesday, March 4th, and good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.